Salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by our technical director, Jonathan Voico.
Hello, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer-Burnett.
Hello there.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is the most important part. That's when we take your comments, questions, and issues. Now, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address in the show, there's two ways you can get it in. First of all, if you're not watching the show live, like many people, you're watching it a little bit later in the day after we're done the live stream, you can send in a question for the next show to our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And if you are one of the lucky people watching us live, thank you to everybody who's already in the live chat with us, you can use the super chat feature in the live chat to send it in. And whether you send it in via the tip link or super chats, as long as it's appropriate for us to address in the show, we do reserve the right not to bring up any questions or topics that we don't think is appropriate for the show. You'll hear us address it in the second part of the show. All right. Big day today, actually.
Big day.
Tuesday. I got a couple of really cool things. I'm sure many of you do too. First of all, we got not one, but two episodes of Daredevil tonight. Really liked the first episode of season 2. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I also got to get caught up on the finale of Paradise. On the season finale of Paradise. So because I still haven't watched the finale, so I got to do that tonight. But then, guys, I'm doing something tonight that I have not done in a while. Ann and I are going to a midnight screening. Haven't done that in ages. We're going to go see a midnight screening of Mario Brothers tonight.
Sweet.
Which we're going to talk about Mario Brothers in just a little bit. But also, before we get into the topics, one other thing I just want to mention just off the side here. On this day, March 31st, 20 years ago, on 2006, my all-time favorite James Gunn movie was released. It was this one, Slither, with Nathan Fillion, Elizabeth Banks, Michael Rooker. It is still to this day my favorite James Gunn film. It is tied with, I think, Shaun of the Dead as my all-time favorite horror comedy. Of course, Shaun of the Dead is the rom-com romantic comedy with zombies. That is not this one, but I tell you, man, this movie to me is still so freaking special, and it's so unique. It's so unique. I've never really seen another film like it. And like, it's low budget, but doctor gave me a prescription. It's just like, Michael's so good in it. Nathan Fillion's so good in it. This is still like one of my favorite movies. It's one of my go-to movies. Like, if I've got a few buddies together, friends together, and we're just like, I feel like watching something. Have you ever seen Slither? Usually the answer is no. It's like, Slither time. I love this movie. Do you remember this thing? It's hard to believe. Well, you know what? No, it does kind of feel like 20 years ago. There are some movies that hit their anniversaries and are like, I can't believe that's 20. But this one I do. But what are your thoughts on
I love Slither. I own Slither. As a matter of fact, I pre-ordered the new 4K Steelbook that's coming out for Slither. I love this movie. You know, I thought it was terrific. It was obviously James Gunn grew up as a fan of the same stuff that I grew up loving, 80s horror. It's such a throwback to like an 80s
really
creature feature, and I love it. I love the cast, and it really pointed the way to where James Gunn would eventually go in his career. And those two movies, Slither and Super, were what convinced, I think, Kevin Feige to bring him on board into the MCU.
Yeah.
You look at Slither, it wasn't expensive. It's like a $3 million movie, but it has great command of practical effects work. It has great ensemble cast. He wrote it and he directed it. It shows his directing style has a lot of wit and verve to it. So I think that anybody would look at that movie and go, clearly Kevin Feige said, yeah, we want the sensibility of that guy, which I don't think a lot of people would do. You needed to have some foresight and some vision to say, yeah, I'm going to take that guy who directed that $3 million movie, and he's going to come direct our $175 million franchise, Guardians of the Galaxy #1 film. But what I think is important is that it doesn't matter what your budget is when you're making a film. You can see talent. You can see, as long as you can deal with that person. I mean, a lot of people go crazy when they get a lot of money, but I'm sure Kevin Feige had met with James Gunn. James Gunn had been writing studio pictures, movies like Scooby-Doo. You know, he'd written Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, or at least drafts of it. And so he already could work within the studio system. So he knew what to do.
Yeah.
And we got, because of that, it led to the DC universe, which we'll talk about later. But I think I miss that. I miss seeing you. When you saw Slither, didn't you think, who is this?
Yeah.
Boy,
no, absolutely. I remember when I sat down, one of the highlights, I think, of my career is the day I got to sit down with James Gunn and Kevin Feige at the same. Little did I know I was sitting down with the head of Marvel and the head of DC.
Right.
But I was sitting down with them. This was before Guardians came out. And I remember I asked Kevin, you guys have heard me say this before, but I asked Kevin, I said, what was it about James, who had never done anything remotely close to this budget level before, that made you think he was the guy? And I'll never forget Kevin Feige's answer. And he said, a good storyteller is a good storyteller.
Yep.
Whether you give them a $5 million budget, a $50 million budget, or $150 million budget. A good storyteller is a good storyteller. And Slither, I think you're right, is what led us to this point we're at. So happy 20th birthday to Slither. All right, guys. With that all down, let's get things started off here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. Well, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, tonight, going to go to a midnight screening, something I haven't done in a long time. Didn't even realize until last night that they were doing Mario midnight screenings. What child is going to be up at midnight for them to do midnight screenings? I don't know, but the AMC Dolby Prime Theater was already sold out.
I think it's charming you think it's children.
Well, yeah. There are going to be a lot of kids. Probably not tonight, though. And the first reactions, and it's a little bit of, not a little bit, it's a big red flag that here we are the day before the movie comes out. The full reviews still haven't dropped. They still have not released, but they did release the early reactions, which have come out the day that I'm going to go see the movie tonight. And I am going to do an out-of-theater reaction to Mario Brothers tonight. And they're mixed to positive. There's a couple that didn't like them. The majority of them people seem to like the film. Let's go over and take a look at some of the reactions to the Mario Brothers Galaxy movie. We'll start off with Andrew Salazar, who writes, okay, I'll say this. For a movie purely designed to jingle keys in front of an audience, it's somehow pretty bad at that too. I love that line. Why are we unnecessarily changing Mario lore? Why are there far more Odyssey references than Galaxy? I don't think 99% of the audience is going to care about that. Fox is here and yet doesn't build up to anything. The Holophiles didn't like it much, saying, the Super Mario Galaxy movie faithfully recreates the visuals of the iconic Nintendo games and thankfully doesn't shoehorn tons of pop songs like the last movie. Unfortunately, it's marred by unfocused plotting, disjointed pacing, and a lack of heart. Some fun surprises to enjoy. Next, we had Tyler, who wrote, Super Mario Galaxy movie is a mixed bag. There are aspects that I found stronger than the first, which I loved, but the promise of adapting Galaxy feels like an afterthought and is shockingly low on vibes. The game has a stronger story. Then we got Junior Felix, who wrote, Mario is a gloriously fun sequel filled with nostalgic lore. It's a beautiful, colorful, kinetic film that lit me up. There are moments in this film that reminded me what it was like playing my SNES. That alone made the experience priceless. Charles wrote, Super Mario Galaxy movie is so much stuff happens in this movie, but it's all like, whatever. Jonathan Sim wrote, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is even better than the first. Bigger action set pieces. It leans more on Brian Tyler's excellent musical score than needle drops. A gorgeously animated love letter to Mario fans. A very entertaining ride. Manuel Bento writes, the movie proves that cinema is still a place where we can all become children again. It reaffirms this saga holds a deep soul through its ability to evoke cherished memories, offering strong feelings of absolute escapism. I like that. That's nice. Tom wrote, the movie is surprisingly a lot better than its predecessor, introducing exciting and revered characters with flair while delivering colorful, vibrant, and far more visually striking visuals and action set pieces that gives the sequel a distinct, lively feel. Christopher Gallardo wrote, The movie is whimsical, vibrant, and fun in every way. The cast is pretty great, but Jack Black's Bowser and Donald Glover's Yoshi are absolutely hilarious. The visuals are really burst out. The story is sweet, and those references truly shine. Hunter Bolding wrote, the Mario is a blast of color and amazing imagery. It's like those old Wii games coming off the screen and into the theater. People young and old will get a kick out of this movie. Glenn Powell is perfect as Star Fox. And the last one we'll do here is Tessa Smith from Mama's Geeky wrote, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is packed to the brim with Easter eggs, not just for Mario, for Nintendo as well. It's pretty much pure chaos from start to finish in the best way possible. My girl Rosalina remains my favorite. Stay till the very end. So, you know, some mixed reaction, some very positive reaction. You know what? Very reminiscent of the first one.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of the first one.
That's what I was going to say.
Like, for me, the first one was, I enjoyed it. I know some people that thought it was great. I was not one of those people that thought the first one was great, but in a thumbs up or thumbs down world, it was a thumbs up for me. I had a good time. I walked out with a smile on my face. And that's all I'm really asking for this one. And so hearing this mix, it does feel, like we said, very reminiscent of the reactions we got from the first film. That bodes well for me. And I think if you're somebody that really liked the first one, that should bode well for you too. It doesn't bode so well for you if you didn't like the first one, because it sounds like maybe you won't like this one either. But again, I'm looking forward. Listen, I'm at least excited enough to see it that I'm going to go to a midnight screening. I'm not going to say this is in the top 5 of my most anticipated films of the year. It's not, but I'm interested enough to go see it. Anyway, Rob, you're hearing the reactions for it. Where does it fall on the scale of where you're expecting it to hear it? What did you think of the first one, and what are your expectations and hopes for this new one?
Well, I liked the first one enough. You know, again, for me, it was more nostalgia than anything else growing up playing. I mean, like I've said before, I started playing Donkey Kong. When did that come out? 81, something, 82. That was the first time I met Mario. So the Mario Galaxy, the Mario universe has been a part of my life since I was a teenager. And it was fun to watch, you know, playing all the different various games over the years. I mean, I didn't expect it to be Grave of the Fireflies as far as animation goes, but I mean, you know, it's fine. It was what it was.
Why do I instantly feel depressed whenever somebody mentions Grave of the Fireflies?
I'm sorry.
I just instantly feel like, oh, life sucks.
But no, I mean, it was fun. You know, it was fun. It didn't break any. Okay, I should maybe use Toy Story as something else. I've not go great, but this is kind of what I expected. You know, bigger. But I have to tell you, I kind of want to see this because, like, I like the Lego Movie 2. I don't know if I saw that with you. The Lego Movie 2. I like the Lego Movie 2. You know, it's going out into space, and so a lot of people didn't.
I wasn't big on the second. I love the first one though.
Yeah, I love the first. The first was great, but I like the second one more than people did. I'm like, that's cool. And this, hearing what people have said here, it leads me to believe that I would probably have a pretty good time watching this.
I honestly didn't even know there was a second Lego movie till just now.
There is.
So thank you for that.
I was a little disappointed in the second one myself, but again, I do love the franchise overall. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Remember, the last Mario Brothers movie made $1.3 billion at the box office. This one's kind of snuck up, but are you looking forward to seeing it? I think the reactions are right about around where I was kind of expecting them to be, and that's fine for me because I like the first film. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Right now, kind of the king of the hill when it comes to shows that are currently on television, as in the way that it's winning all the awards, is The Pitt. And listen, I've said this before. I've never been a big medical procedural show guy. I mean, a few of them are decent enough and whatever, but The Pitt, I don't know what it is, but there's something really special about that show. It's gripping. Once you start watching an episode, you cannot stop. And it feels like every time Ann and I do watch an episode, whenever the screen goes black and the credits come up, we're like, like at least, no, keep going. I love the show. Season 2 has been every bit as good as season 1. It's getting a little bit more into some political issues and stuff like that, but whatever, it's doing it really powerfully and very, very well. Well, following in kind of a modern trend, but I never would have thought it for The Pitt, they're bringing the season finale to movie theaters. At least some.
That's wild.
As the folks over at Variety are reporting, the Pitt heads to movie theaters with Alamo Drafthouse screening of season 2 finale, at least in 10 cities. This is what it writes. The Pitt is headed to the movies. HBO Max and Warner Brothers Television have partnered with Alamo Drafthouse to set a series of advanced screenings of the season 2 finale of The Pitt. The screenings will take place April 13th at 10 Alamo Drafthouse locations nationwide, just days before the episode hits HBO Max on April 16th. All right, I'm going to pause there for a second to say that HBO is already doing it way better than Netflix does. Because when Netflix has done it, and I applaud Netflix for doing it, but when Netflix has done it, they do it a screening on the same day that it airs on Netflix. That's stupid.
Right.
I love that they're doing it a few days before it airs. They're making it an event. They're making it something special. You get to go see it a few days early. I love that. I think Netflix should learn something from them on this. Anyway, just days before the episode hits HBO Max on April 16th. The screenings are billed as healthcare appreciation events with current and former healthcare workers encouraged to attend, though tickets are available to everybody. Now, this is what they've also had to do, what K-pop did. While admission itself is free, seats can be reserved on the Alamo Drafthouse website with the purchase of a $10 food and drink voucher. Now, remember, that's also, I believe, what they did with
because they
K-pop
can't.
Demon Hunters, because they don't have the contracts with the actors about putting this in movie theaters, so they technically can't earn any box office with it. They'll figure out some way in the future to work around that, I'm sure. Now, if you want to know where it's going to be, participating Alamo Drafthouse theaters include New York City's Brooklyn location, the Seaport location in Boston, Raleigh, North Carolina, Naples, Florida, the Cedars location in Dallas, the Mueller location in Austin, Texas, the Westminster location in Denver. These are all cities I've done my movie meetups in. It's like they're following me around. The Mountain View location in San Francisco, the Woodbury location in Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and the downtown location in Los Angeles. All right. I like this trend. I really do. But for something like, oh, by the way, I said K-pop Demon Hunters, it was Stranger Things finale that they did this thing with. I like this thing, but only if you're going to do it this way, in the sense that you get to see it early by going to see it in theaters and not by dropping it in theaters and on the streaming service on the same day. And you know what? I think I'm going to go to the downtown Los Angeles Alamo Drafthouse to watch the finale of this.
Look at you.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm not.
Ah.
I don't think we're going to be here.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be in Las Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Yep, we're going to be in Las Vegas. So I'm not going to be able to do this in theaters. We're going to be at CinemaCon. But still, I like this. I think this is a really, again, I wouldn't have pegged the Pit, House of the Dragon. I can see them doing it with that. Last of Us, I could see them doing it with that. I wouldn't have figured the Pit, but I like that they're doing it with the Pit. Anyway, Rob, you heard about this. What do you think?
Well, I think it's unusual, but I think it's cool. A lot of these TV shows that are being made now, even the aspect ratios, theatrical, you've got a widescreen aspect ratio, and they look great, and the production values are great. So nothing is diminished when you see it on the big screen. In fact, I always maintain that everything is better on a big screen. So for the people that like the Pit, I think it's wild that they're doing it with this show, but also kind of cool. It doesn't have giant dragons in it, but still it's
you never know what could happen.
Yeah, you just don't
man.
know. Some dragons might fly to someone's butt. You just don't know. But no, I think it's cool. I like that they're doing this. And you know what? Why not make these shows, give them a little special, give something back to the fans, give something back to the fan base. This show has become very popular very quickly, and obviously there's an audience out there that'll support this. So why not?
It's funny. Ann and I were watching the last episode, and the more I think about it, watching the Pit with an audience would be a hoot, because we're watching the latest episode. And this guy comes in, I guess he set off some fireworks and it threw him across a room and he banged his head on a garage door, right? So he comes in with his head all wrapped up. And we're sitting there watching, then they bring him into the examination room. They go, all right, let's take off the bandages and take a look. And as soon as they said that, Ann and I both at the same time went, nope. It's kind of like, turn around. nope, I don't want to see what they're going to do here. On that level, I think watching this in an auditorium with 300 people would be an absolute blast. I think it would be an absolute blast, but we will be in Las Vegas, unfortunately. But
Which will also be an absolute blast.
Vegas will also be an absolute blast this year. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Now, HBO is getting in on it and bringing the season finale to a theatrical experience in only 10 cities, but they're a lot of the bigger cities, so I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be able to go see it. Are you interested in it? Do you even watch The Pitt? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. You know, Spider-Man Brand New Day is coming. Of course, the trailers just came out. It didn't break the all-time trailer record. Like, it took it out to dinner, spent the night, and never called it back again. Yeah. It, like, almost doubled the previous record for most views of a trailer. It's insane. I'm not quite sure how big this movie's going to be. But one of the interesting things about it was Stranger Things star Sadie Sink is, of course, going to appear in it. It's Hollywood's worst kept secret that she's playing Jean Grey. And now there's a report going around that she has signed a 5-film deal plus television appearances with Marvel. At least according to the report that may or may not be true. Let's look at this. Yahoo Entertainment is reporting Sadie Sink's huge movie deal after Spider-Man 4 revealed by report. It says this: Sadie Sink is all set to make her Marvel Cinematic Universe debut with Spider-Man 4 Brand New Day, hitting theaters this summer. While her role in the highly anticipated movie remains a closely guarded secret, not very closely guarded, rumors point to her possibly being X-Men mutant and telepath Jean Grey. Now, a new report has surfaced suggesting the actress has a big future ahead of her in the constantly expanding superhero franchise. Notable industry scooper, and often wrong, but often right, it's a coin toss, My Time to Shine Hello shared on Twitter that Sadie Sink has signed on to appear in 5 MCU movies. They also said that the Stranger Things alum deal with Marvel includes the option to appear in television shows. Now, of course, she's going to be in Brand New Day, and Deadline reported some time ago that she's going to appear not in Doomsday, but in Avengers Secret Wars. Okay. Again, while the source of this is a pick'em, like you never know when it comes to some of these online scoopers, sometimes right, sometimes wrong. You can never count on it, but it's enough that you got to pay attention to it. To me, this is 100% believable. Because again, we all know it's going to be Jean Grey. I mean, Kevin Feige hasn't called me to tell me it's Jean Grey. I think most fans, including me, just assume at this point it's Jean Grey. And if she is indeed Jean Grey, then of course they've already signed her to a multi-film deal. Of course they have. Kevin Feige is not going to sign on somebody to a one-picture deal if they are a cornerstone character of their upcoming franchise direction. Like, you're not going to sign a one-film deal. It's like, oh, I guess we lost them after the first film. Not to mention the lessons they learned with Robert Downey Jr. that sign many films. So if, the first 2 they appear in are $2 billion films, they don't come back to you asking for $25 million a picture because, we got a contract. So get that under wraps. So I don't know. To me, this is a little bit of throwing spaghetti at the walls. Like, I think we all knew that it's like being a scooper and breaking a scoop saying, in the upcoming Masters of the Universe movie, Battle Cat's going to be in it. Well, of course Battle Cat's going to be in it. But at any rate, I think if this report is true, and I believe it is, I think it just reaffirms that this is absolutely Jean Grey. I don't think you're signing a character this early and having them make their appearance in a Spider-Man movie and signing them to a 5-picture deal if it's Janice, the Midnight Baker. I think this.
What?
I think it confirms this is Jean Grey. We don't know that for certain, of course. We'll find out in the coming days.
The night nurse.
Maybe our guess is wrong, but you know what? The more and more I think about it, when they first announced Sadie Sink and the speculation began that she was going to be Jean Grey, I liked it. I did. I liked it. But the more I think about it, the more I love it. I think she's great. And she's not as young as she looks, but she's so young and young enough that, listen, Kevin Feige is looking at the fact that he's got Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, and a lot of these guys are aging, right? Well, we're all aging. But I mean, then he looks at Hugh Jackman. It's like that guy was able to play the role for like 30 years, getting close. And I love that he's starting with a cast that is old enough to take seriously, but young enough that they could play these characters for the next 20 years. And I kind of dig that. Now, who knows? Maybe they'll cast Cyclops and it'll be Leonardo DiCaprio. He does like him younger. Or maybe they'll cast Kelsey Grammer as Beast again, which I don't think they will. But I'm liking it more and more, and it just makes sense that you'd lock her down for, at least for her first contract, a 5-picture deal, and then see where you go. Anyway, Rob, same question, 2 questions I always put to you when it comes to these questionable things, these reports. Number 1, do you think it's true? And then number 2, if it were true, how do you think about it?
Okay, I'm going to go with you. I believe it's true. Now, that said, you know, Sadie Sink would have to be a major character in the MCU to be signed for 5 films plus TV appearances.
With options for TV, yeah.
With options for TV, which, who else is it going to be? It's not Firestar. You know, it's Jean Grey. Now, what I do love about this, and you pointed it out, she's 23 years old. It tells me that means that's going to be the team. That's going to be the X team that we're going to get. I mean, the X-Men, like Star Trek, the X-Men is my jam. I love the X-Men. And you build a core team. That means, and I would imagine, you know, Logan could be, the new Wolverine could be an older character, but I don't think he will be. I think Wolverine will appear reasonably close to the age of these characters, probably in his 20s, which allows us to get, like, if Daniel Radcliffe played Wolverine or Taron Egerton
Well, they're in
played
their
Wolverine.
30s.
Well, they're,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they're
they could
aging
be,
up too.
but they could be a little older, you know. But whatever. It's so you know that the X, and it has to be, because you're seeing Sadie Sink is yet to be in. I would imagine. I'm speculating. She's not an X-Man yet. She hasn't. Charles Xavier has not put the team together. So I think this is a really great. This is a great signpost for the road up ahead. Not unlike the Twilight Zone, but I think this is a great way to go. I think to build a team around someone like Sadie Sink, she's already proved that people love her in an ensemble in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
If
And
she's,
you know, by the way, that was tough because she was a later addition.
Yep.
And that doesn't always work. Like when you already get your core group of characters, sometimes in television, when they try to introduce a new member of the gang, it
Yep.
doesn't always go well with the audience. She came in as a later addition to that, and the audience loved her right away.
yeah, and I think it's like, look, if after Secret Wars, because all bets are off, they want to take your, call them the elder statespeople characters. You want to bring back Tony Stark. You want to bring back Steve Rogers. You want to bring back Thor. They could be, call them the Illuminati, call them however you want to do it, like we saw in Multiverse of Madness. The elder states characters could be brought back and forth. But if you're going to concentrate on the X-Men, what's really interesting is you've got the passage of time in the MCU, and the X-Men they're coming onto the stage as the Avengers are sort of stepping off and aging out, which I like because it gives the MCU continuity for the next 20 years. In 2028, the MCU is going to be 20 years old. And the idea of bringing in the X-Men, but still having them coexist with the first 20 years means possibly, let's say the MCU goes for another 20 years. You've got 40 years of continuity within that universe where the X-Men kind of have the baton passed to them from the OG Avengers, and then you can bring in all these other characters. I think it's a great idea because the X-Men have, I mean, that is a very, very deep well of characters and lore that you can bring in that doesn't necessarily interfere because there hasn't been the X-Men before. So I really like it. I like the emergence of mutants on the new MCU stage, whatever that's going to be post Secret Wars, and there's so much possibility that will it'll re-energize it in ways that we haven't seen before. And I think it's great. I'm excited.
I see some people in live chat saying Glenn Powell as Cyclops.
No.
I think he's too old.
He's so old. You need a Cyclops that's 23 years old.
Yeah.
You need a whole new young team that's going to, and by the way, by definition, that attracts your new audience. The audience who loves the MCU has been watching it for 18 years. So if you started watching the X-Men when you were 10, you're 28 now.
Ew.
Well, I'm just saying that, I mean, but imagine that what you want is 10-year-olds looking at someone like Sadie Sink, like, I want to grow up and be her when I go to college. I mean, it's a beautiful move. Like, you know, and that's what I think, because you can have older, you know, you can have, the Summers boys, if you're going to bring back the Shi'ar Empire and Lilandra and go cosmic with it, which you can, because they've already established that in the MCU.
I wouldn't till much later.
No, of course. But I mean, you know, the Summers brother in space, you can do all that kind of stuff. It's great.
And it should be mentioned, Sadie Sink is 23 years old. Now, although we should, again, just reaffirm here that it has not been confirmed that she's playing Jean Grey.
Right.
It is still possible she's another character. We just believe she's going to be Jean Grey. But
yeah, I'd sign Firestar to a 5-picture deal. Sure, why not?
all right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently, at least according to the reports, if you believe them, Sadie Sink has signed a 5-picture deal with Marvel. Again, I think if true, that does kind of reaffirm that what most of us think is that she's going to be Jean Grey. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Number of high-profile trailers have dropped today. And we're going to talk about all 3 of them. But we're going to start off with this one that I didn't even realize was coming out today. And quite frankly and honestly, despite the fact that it stars one of my favorite actors on the planet right now, Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is just awesome, I totally forgot this movie was even coming. But today, A24 dropped their full trailer for The Backrooms. Of course, based on a short film that was done on YouTube by a 16-year-old filmmaker who, much like the Lights Out situation, then just got signed by a studio to come back and just make the live action version.
And it was kind of open source for other creators on the internet as well.
Yeah, because it's based on like it's this urban legend, urban myth of the Backrooms and everything like that. But you know how old this director is? 20 years old. 20 years old, directing an A24 film.
Good for him.
Anyway, as the playlist writes, the Backrooms trailer, Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renate Rensiv get trapped in a liminal nightmare that turns empty space into terror. Kane Parsons, who is the director, adapts his viral horror series into a feature film. By the way, that first one he did, 73 million views on YouTube. And it's creepy as hell.
The new Markiplier.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Or really more like the guy from Lights Out. That's really a more direct apples to apples comparison. Anyway, playlist writes, horror has always found ways to turn ordinary spaces into something hostile, but Backrooms pushes that idea into something more abstract and unsettling. The film leans into liminal spaces, the empty in-between environments that feels familiar but wrong, and builds its terror from the sense that you're stuck somewhere that shouldn't exist at all. Now, the first trailers arrive for Backrooms, the feature adaptation of Kane Parsons' viral internet horror series with Oscar nominee Chiwetel Ejiofor leading the cast, that we've already kind of read through their cast. Directed by Parsons and written by Will Sudik, the film builds on the unnerving premise that made the original shorts a phenomenon. The original synopsis is sparse by design. A strange doorway appears in the basement of a furniture showroom. What follows, if the trailer is any indication, is a descent into an infinite maze where architecture itself feels unstable and escape may not be possible. All right. I haven't watched the short film in a couple of years, but I remember really watching and being really impressed by it. Again, it reminds me of like a lot of Lights Out, although I do think Lights Out was a little bit better, but I did like it a lot. And so I watched this trailer, not really knowing how they were going to expand on it and make it a feature film. I'm going to tell you, I loved the trailer. I really do. It freaked the hell out of me. Which is very, very difficult for even a horror movie. Even some of my favorite horror movies don't necessarily freak me out that much, but I found it extremely creepy. And again, much like the comparison to Lights Out, I remember when I loved the short film and I'm like, how on earth are you going to do this as a full feature? And then I saw it. I'm like, they did it. They did it. And much like Lights Out, they got the original director from the short film, giving him a feature film. I wonder, they signed him when he was 17. They signed him to do this feature film when he was 17 years old. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to translate, but I got to say, man, this movie has went completely off my radar to now being something I am very excited to watch. And it hit me in just the right way. So anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see Backrooms trailer. What did you think? What was your experience with it?
Well, first of all, I like this idea, this sort of liminal horror space idea. The fact that there's a great clash of something mundane with the fantastical, something that shouldn't exist. And I did think the online trailers or the online shorts were really, really creepy. And I like this stuff. There's kind of like a before Backrooms, there was an Argentinian, I don't know if you call it horror science fiction, movie called Mobius about trains that were strange. And then there's a recent Japanese film called Exit 8 about a guy, a salaryman who gets trapped in these in underground subway, and it's kind of got the same kind of vibe. And I really like the game. And when I heard the movie, the shorts, and when I heard it was getting into a feature film, the one thing that I thought about was as shorts they work. And there's also I don't know if you've heard of the novel There Is No Anti-Memetics Division, but it kind of deals with the same. There's something in the zeitgeist that's going on in culture right now that Backrooms is a part of, and I don't know what you would call it, but There Is No Anti-Memetics Division. There's a lot of weird short films that are like Backrooms, not like in the same way, but anyway, I love this idea. I'm very excited. The only thing that I worry about is by explaining what's going on, you kind of undercut what makes these appealing in the first place. So I'm very curious. Like whenever I watch supernatural stuff, I always am interested in what I call, and people laugh at me for this, the mechanics of hell. So if you have the supernatural that exists, it's kind of like the rules that govern, say, vampires. Well, when something like this happens, when you're watching something like this, what are the mechanics of it? Like, how does it work? Like in the Hellraiser movies, a human being, has to open up the lament configuration for the Cenobites to show up. They don't just show up to torture you. You have to call them. So, and they're governed by that. I love these kind of rule-based things about hell. That's why I call it the mechanics of hell. I want to know what the mechanics of Backrooms are. But if you tell me too much, it's not as interesting.
It loses the mystery.
Yeah, and so when I'm watching the trailer, I watch it twice now. And I think the trailer captures the feeling of what these short films did. So as a director, our young whippersnapper 20-year-old, that was even younger than when Steven Spielberg was directing the Night Gallery TV movies, when he did Eyes with Joan Crawford. So that's a great start. Can he make this work as a feature film? I don't know. They gave it a late May birth, so they got to be pretty high on it. A24 is like, we're in the midst of the summer movie season, baby. And I think that if you have all the young people that watch these short films that know what Backrooms are, and when I said like Markiplier has half the views that these Backrooms have on YouTube, and he was able to parlay his $3 million movie into $40 million. So this could be a huge deal for A24, and I'm interested. I think it looks really fascinating.
All right, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to watch the Backrooms trailer? If so, what did you think about it? I personally thought it looked great. I'm now suddenly very, very interested in the film. Whatever you guys thought, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. A trailer that I have particularly been looking forward to is the second trailer for Masters of the Universe. Now, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that over the past year, this channel has been one of the strongest proponents for this movie, because it was at CinemaCon a year ago that they gave us the presentation for Masters of the Universe. And you guys will remember, you thought we sounded crazy. But we came out, we're like, God, this might actually be good. This might actually end up being like legit, because we love the designs. They showed us a bunch of stuff, and we all of a sudden became very, very interested in the film. And the first trailer came out, and the first trailer didn't blow my socks off, but it was fine. It was good. But to me, it's always about the second trailer, right? So the second trailer came out, and we always say the job of a trailer is to take your excitement level, however low it is or however high it is, and bump it up a couple of notches, right? This trailer took away some of my excitement for this movie. I am less excited about this movie as somebody who's been one of the biggest champions all year for this film. I have to say, this trailer let me down. It has made me less enthusiastic for it. It looked like a $4 million Netflix piece of garbage. The visuals look cheap. Now, I will say that this trailer did what a second trailer is supposed to do. Give us the general story idea. And on paper, I kind of like what they're going for. The fact that Adam has been on Earth, always aware of who he truly is, and has been trying to find a way to get back to his people, to Eternia. He gets back to Eternia to find that his kingdom, his land has been laid ruined by Skeletor, and now he and his people have to rise up in a rebellion kind of way to take down Skeletor. Perfect. Sounds good. You've got the right storyline for me. I'm on board. I'm just hoping that once I see it on the big screen, it captivates me a little bit more, because Cringer looked cringy. The one shot of Castle Grayskull, where it started tight and then the camera pans back, it's like, that does not feel like a 2026 feature film visual. That feels like a World of Warcraft 2012 visual. I'm hoping, now listen. Do I still believe in this movie? Yes, for one reason. And that one reason is two words: Travis Knight. Travis Knight has done the seemingly impossible before. First of all, he made a film that on paper should look like a movie that nobody cares about, with Kubo and the Two Strings, and made it an incredibly special film. And then he took a dying and decrepit franchise like the Transformers and actually breathed life and breathed heart into it, making the best live action Transformers movie with Bumblebee. And he's the one doing Masters of the Universe. So while this trailer has let me down, I'm still maintaining my belief in the film simply because of Travis Knight. So that's all fine. But I've just got to be honest with you guys, as somebody who's been a champion of this film all year, and trailers are trailers. We've often seen bad trailers to great movies and good trailers to bad movies. So it's just a trailer, but I got to be honest with you, this trailer wasn't it for me. But anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see the trailer for Masters of the Universe. What did you think about it?
I kind of echo what you said. Obviously, I've been a huge supporter of this movie, not just because of Travis Knight, but also because of the production design work of Guy Dias and his team. And which, by the way, is on display, and I think they've done a phenomenal job. The thing because this is derived from a toy, a toy line, I think it almost feels, at least this trailer felt, it's kind of halfway between animation and, say, Lord of the Rings. When I wanted it to lean more into the Lord of the Rings of it all, like I wanted Eternia to look like Middle-earth, in the sense that when you see Castle Grayskull, I wanted it to look like Minas Tirith or Isengard, but it's kind of got that, it's the color palette, it looks
like a playset.
It
did look like a playset.
Yeah, and that they're.
Although I'll say Snake Mountain looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I thought Snake Mountain.
Yeah,
looked pretty cool.
Snake Mountain look. But it's also the color palette. It's like they're leaning in. And I would have liked to have seen, look, I don't expect it to be, when I say it's like Lord of the Rings, I don't expect it to have like that kind of portentousness. But even like if you look at this shot, I think Skeletor looks great.
I like the look of Skeletor.
Yeah,
I like the voice of Skeletor.
And I like the voice of Skeletor, what Jared Leto's doing or whatever. But it's more leaning toward children's programming for me than say, and it's so silly because we're talking about Masters of the Universe. But what you want a movie to do like this is you want it to capture all audiences. Kind of like the Dungeons and Dragons movie, the last one that didn't do very well. It threaded that needle very, very well. Now, I don't think it's fair to judge this movie by the trailers like this, but again, it's coming out in 2 months. Well, we got April, May, and then it comes out in June. So tomorrow's April. And I believe in Travis Knight, and I believe in their production design. To me, it's all going to be about tone and the feel of it. But if they lean into making it this idea they have to make everything kid friendly. Do you know how you make things kid friendly? You make it cool. You can't pander to this idea that when I was a kid, when you were a kid, we liked things that were cool. I was watching the original Star Trek when I was 5. I didn't like shows that necessarily, ever since the 90s, I mean, it doesn't need to lean into the Nickelodeon of it all. Make it cool, make it badass. So when you see it as a kid, you're like, that's awesome. Now this, we'll see.
Yeah, again, so let me talk about some of the things that I liked in the trailer. So again, I've already kind of highlighted that I like the story layout.
Yeah,
works.
me too.
It's a simple one, but it's a proven hero's journey kind of story one. So that works for me. Again, Skeletor, I think looked really good. And I like the voice they went through. Like I was saying, it leans more towards the voice of Skeletor that we got in the Dolph Lundgren version rather than He-Man. Then the anime one, like if
that would have worked.
No, that would not have worked in a live action screen. Would not have worked. So I like the voice. I like the look of the character. So I like that. I'll say sometimes in movies when there's like a big citywide battle scene, it can feel small. I will say in this trailer that when it looked like there was truly a global conflict happening, it felt large scale.
Yeah, it did.
Right? So that worked for me too. Again, it's just this overall thing that it felt cheap. It felt cheap and it felt like a Netflix film, and that's never a good thing. And again, I've had a lot of movies that I have loved where I didn't like the trailer.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And I'm counting on that this is going to be one of those. I just got to be honest. I just didn't like the trailer.
I will say this, that little joke at the end of the trailer with them sitting, the two guys, I was like, that sold me.
That was funny. That was a good, that lasted a lot. And it could have been just dumb and been flat.
Yes.
You're just a little bit really crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
it was good.
That was good. I mean, to me, I'm like, that's it right there. And that's what it left me with hope, John. I have hope.
Yeah. Again, because it's Travis Knight.
Yep.
I am not going to lose my hope in this.
That joke was a Bumblebee-like joke.
It was.
That was a Bumblebee-level joke. So I'm like, okay.
And again, if Travis Knight can do, because what he did with Bumblebee was he took this heartless, soulless franchise in Transformers. I like the first Michael Bay one. I did.
Yeah.
Everything else after that was terrible. And he found a way to take this 80s kids toy line that had been kind of heartless and soulless in its modern iteration. And he found a way to breathe life into it.
Yeah.
And if he can do that with He-Man, this is going to be a winner.
Do you know, the only other thing that I also worried about in the trailer was we have a great cast of characters playing all of these, both the good and the bad characters. We didn't hear enough from them. Like, I wanted to hear some like badass lines from all the. I want to
hear Alison Brie as Evil Lynn.
That's it.
I want to hear her saying something.
Yeah, what is? I mean, and I think with with this, the characters are what make this. If the characters are wooden, and you don't have these actors having a ball making this movie, but the Skeletor thing that was good. But I wanted to hear I didn't want to hear Man at Arms being earnest. I wanted to hear him being badass because it's Idris Elba.
I thought his lines were.
You got a couple good lines.
On the badass side of it.
I wanted more badass.
And when you fall, stand tall.
Well, that was good.
Somebody wants to.
And that
What do
moment
you
with the
say?
mace.
Yeah, that was.
somebody wants to fight or something like
Yeah.
that. There was some good lines in there.
I just wanted it more character-y.
Character-y. Again, we'll get another 1 or 2 trailers. I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll probably get some Evil in. I want to see some more Skeletor. And just hopefully, and you know what else has happened sometimes? Sometimes, because of the way effects are, they are just made for a big screen. And sometimes you take effects that have been, I've seen movies where on the big screen, the effects look really good.
Yeah.
But on a small screen, they don't. So maybe that'll be a part of
And
it
also, I mean, as somebody who's, in my 5th decade of life, analyzing Masters of the Universe like this might be not so productive.
Yeah.
But
So
we'll see.
we'll see. I will see. Just say, look, I've been looking forward to this movie all year. I don't think it's hyperbole to say I've been one of the biggest cheerleaders for this movie
Me too.
all year. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be honest. I'm just being honest. I did not love this trailer, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. Guys, question is for you. What did you think of the new Masters of the Universe trailer? I think there's some upside to it, but just overall, it kind of made me a little bit less enthusiastic for the film, but I still 100% believe in Travis Knight. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Another new trailer dropped today. Of course, yesterday they announced that today there would be a new Supergirl trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And they dropped the trailer today, as Gizmodo is reporting here. The new Supergirl trailer is filled with Krypto, Lobo, and 60s Soul. Millie Alcock and Jason Momoa star in the latest film from DC Studios, out on June 26th. Now, they initially told us that this new one was going to be based on the graphic story of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And actually, the movie was originally called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and then they dropped it. Now, of course, whenever it comes to comic book movies, they'll take the name of some comics and some comic stories, and they'll take a lot of liberties with it. Again, Civil War, very different from the Civil War. Days of Future Past, very different from the graphic novel Days of Future Past. I was actually kind of surprised to see how much of the Woman of Tomorrow comic is actually in this particular movie. And look, I'm not going to bury the lead. I thought the first Supergirl trailer was pretty good. I fucking love this trailer. I loved it. I started playing because, first of all, it did what a second trailer is supposed to do. Start to give us the structure of what the story is. Don't spoil everything. Just tell us what's the story. And this trailer did it with, you got our villain. You got Ruthie, who is from the comic.
Yeah.
Who is a young girl on a quest for revenge because, the villain killed her family. You've got the villain has injured Krypto, poisoned Krypto. You got like this Supergirl, Kara, who's in a rough place in life. And they go off and, oh, by the way, Lobo's in it. And I'll tell you what, man, right from the beginning of this trailer, they made me feel in the first 30 seconds, Krypto is truly all she has. And this dog is her world. You can say that, but you got to be able to make an audience feel it. And right in the first 30 seconds of this trailer, I felt it. Like I felt that connection that out of her whole world's gone. She lost everything, but the one constant in her life has been this dog. And as a lifelong dog owner, I get it. And this whole thing is like, home is wherever you are, buddy, and all that kind of stuff. And then Krypto is dying. And I'm like, she's about to go John Wick on this universe. And rightfully so. And I really loved it, as you still had some of the playful elements to it. Like they replayed that one scene from the first trailer. It's like, this isn't going to go well for you guys, right? But then you see a pissed off Kara,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, oh shit. And I thought Lobo came across as great. Like this is exactly how I thought I would think of Lobo. I mean, there's a faithfulness to the comic while also taking some liberties. I love the dynamic between her and Krypto. Again, I loved Krypto in Man of Steel. Even the way they use Superman in it, saying, like, I'm just afraid you're spending so much time off world, you're not going to find your people. I don't have people. Like there's just instantly, with one line, they let us totally understand the mental place where this character's in and where she is emotionally, where she is and all that kind of stuff. And then she comes across this girl, and I love the scene of her father sending her off, Argo. Like, it's just, I thought it was fantastic. Now, I don't know how good or bad the movie is going to be. Again, just like I was talking about Master of the Universe, I've seen a lot of great trailers to bad movies, a lot of bad trailers to good movies. I don't know how good the movie's going to be. I don't know. But the trailer, I thought, was great. I watched it like 5 times this morning. I will watch it more. I thought it had emotional punch. And it's difficult for a trailer. Like, a trailer can wow you and a trailer can excite you. It is difficult in such a short window for a trailer to have an emotional punch. And I thought it did, at least for me. That's how it hit me. So I loved this trailer. I really also love the Backrooms trailer. But I think this was my favorite trailer today. Anyway, you had a chance to see the trailer for Supergirl. What did you think about it?
Well, a lot of people have been saying things like, well, it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy and all that. But I'm like, I find it interesting because if you look at comic books over the last 40 years, like, I was a huge fan of DC's Omega Men, which was actually a Titans spinoff. And I love 2000 AD comics and, stuff like Strontium Dog. And there is a look to the cosmic infinitude of the universe in comic books. Very heavy metal. And it's hard to get away from that. So when people say, oh, it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, to me, it looks like what the comic book universe from multiple companies look like from the 80s to now. So I don't have a problem with that. That said, I too love this trailer. I was like, all I want to do is be convinced that I'm going to love Kara Zor-El. I want to know. I mean, she had a funny entrance in Superman and left. I liked the sound of her voice, like the way she is. And I did in the trailer, but there wasn't enough of that. And to see where she's at, and Millie Alcott, I think she kind of is unconventional in terms of the way she looks. She's perfect for this role. And it's easy to see why they picked her. And I think she's got tremendous screen presence. And like you said, we see her get angry. We see her be melancholy. We're going to get to see the story of how she was left, why she's the only remaining person of her people. And I'm like, wow, the breadth of the scope of the story, not just because it's a faithful adaptation of Woman of Tomorrow, but the fact that it's going to be a character study of her. The whole movie, we're going to get insight into her. And I'm like, wow, it surprised me. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. And like you said, dude, I was there when Lobo was introduced. And Jason Momoa is perfect for this when he says, oh, those douchebags or whatever he says from the dive bar. I mean,
I thought he said the first three.
I don't know what exactly he said.
Are you that dick from the dive
Yeah,
bar?
yeah.
But then I saw it with the captions on, and he doesn't say, are you that dick from the dive bar? He says, are you that ditz from the dive bar?
Oh.
Hopefully, I think in the movie, it's going to be dick.
It's going to be, it's going to be
I think they said
dick.
ditz in the trailer, but I think in the movie it's actually
but I loved it. I really did. It made me excited to see the movie. So in the case of your theory about what a good trailer is supposed to do, it very much increased my excitement because I was kind of like, yeah, it looks good. But now I'm like, oh, okay, I got to see this. My need to see. I mean, it's not like I wasn't going to go see it. It's a superhero movie, but I'm in. And now I understand why James Gunn felt it important to make this the second film for the DC universe. Yeah. I think that foundationally, this is going to do a lot of heavy lifting, and there's things that I'm sure that they touch on that go into what he's doing in Man of Tomorrow. I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to see this movie.
Now, obviously, Millie kind of exploded onto the scene with House of the Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing. She's so good in House of the Dragon. Like, I don't think it's a stretch to say she might be the best actress we've ever had play the role of Supergirl. Not that there's a long list.
Right.
But she was so good in House of the Dragon that everybody knew a big time jump was coming and that they were going to have to change actresses at one point. That when it was time to do the time jump, like everybody online was, I don't care. You got to keep her.
Right.
Just say she's 20 years older. You got to keep her. And by the way, the new
Emma.
Yeah, is fabulous.
I
as well.
love her. I love them.
Yeah.
I do. I love Emma Darcy.
Like, I mean,
oh man.
just
I
took
love
over the
them.
role and was great. But that's just how good Millie was. It was like, even when it came time for the character to jump up way beyond her years, everybody still just wanted it to be her. And so then excited to hear that she was going to be Supergirl, but could she actually take on that role? And again, how you get me emotionally hooked in a trailer, that's something special. And I think she carries that. And so I think she's going to be a great Supergirl. So
Totally agree. I can't wait, dude.
yeah, she's just going to be awesome. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see the new Supergirl trailer? I ain't going to lie. I absolutely loved it. Again, I don't know how good or bad the movie's going to be. I really don't. But for a trailer, because that's all we're talking about, I thought the trailer was all types of awesome. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to bid good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We will see you again tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
All right, guys, that all said, let's get over to your questions. Remember, there are two ways to get a question on the show. First is if you're not watching live, use our tip link at www.streamelements.com/John Campea/tip. And if you are watching live, use the super chat feature in the live chat. Now, we have turned off the super chats now as of this part of the show. We've already have enough questions come in. But during the show normally, you can just use the super chat feature to send in a question. All right. Let's get things started here, Jonathan. What we got up first?
We got Stubble McShave. Did you see Rush performance at the Juno Awards? They've still got it. I think it was smart to pick an early song that Neil Peart didn't play on in the studio. I don't think they've done that song live for some decades. It avoids the fanboy comparison.
No, I did. The Juno Awards, by the way, for many of you are probably going, what the hell are the Juno Awards? They're a Canadian award show. No, I didn't even realize the Junos had taken place. So I did not see that performance. But man, to see Rush perform again, even without arguably the greatest drummer of all time, Neil Peart, I would love to see that. All right, what's next?
We got Rennie. How much do you think Hail Mary will make total?
I think it will pass the break-even mark. You know, the break-even mark is probably, we did the math yesterday, it's probably somewhere around 450 million. Just after 10 days, it was at 300 million. Now, of course, that's going to slow down as they progress, but I think it will end up right around where I probably originally thought it would. Like, I thought the high end for it was going to be like 700 million, but the realistic realm, I think, is going to be between 450 and 500, maybe 450 and 525. So I think that's where it will end up. Because remember, whereas I thought the high number would be around 7, I thought the low would be around 350. Because again, this isn't a movie that's for everybody. Not everybody has read the book, and I had some concerns about how many people go to see it. Now, thankfully, it's doing better than I kind of initially thought it would, but I'm thinking it's going to come in somewhere between 450 and 525.
We got G Chatter says, hello from India, John. Absolutely admire your love for films.
Oh, thank you.
I saw Highlander, and in my gut, I know Cavill would totally kill his Connor McLeod. And Davis Kurgan, I just love, let me scroll down. Love your passion for films in general. Thank you for making my day.
Oh, thank you. And listen, Highlander is such a special movie to me. It is the oddest, admittedly, the oddest film that's on my top 10 all-time favorite films list. It's not for everybody, but it's just got a really, really special place for me. And I absolutely agree. Henry is going to kill it as Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod. And Batista, I thought was like, that's the thing. I always thought about, man, who's going to play Kurgan? Because it's hard. You obviously can't get back Clancy Brown, but it's going to be hard to duplicate what Clancy Brown did in that movie. But Dave Bautista is as good of a choice as you can make, I think. So I think they're both going to do it justice. All right, what's next?
Matt Spinosaurus says, "Hi, John. The talk about a Warner Paramount merger. I'm curious what your thoughts are on previous mergers of Disney, Fox, MGM, Amazon. Now that it's been several years since they happened, with hindsight, were they good, bad, and what can be learned from them?"
I don't really think you can count Amazon MGM as one of them, because Amazon was really more of a tech company acquiring MGM and as kind of their way to get into the film business per se. I mean, yeah, they had dabbled before, but not on a major scale or serious level. The real comparison, though, is the one you're mentioning, Disney Fox. I'll be honest with you. I've given it no thought since it's happened. Like none. It was a very, very big deal when it was happening at the time, but I have literally given it no thought other than when it comes up when you were talking about how it affects the Marvel Cinematic Universe and stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of the IPs have continued on after Fox, like whether it's stuff like with Predator and things like, they've just continued on without really missing a beat. But the circumstances surrounding the Paramount Warner Brothers one are very different. Yeah, there was a bidding war with Disney and Fox. You know, of course, you had Comcast, NBC Universal in there driving up the price. But the circumstances and the condition that all companies involved back in the Disney Fox one was a very different set of circumstances to this one. I don't really know you can compare them. All right, what's next?
We got Team Caboozles. If Timothy's the next Daniel Day-Lewis, who, in your estimation, is the next Meryl Streep?
Remember, I've never said that. I've always been very careful with how I've said it, that Timothy Chalamet is the guy who has the only guy I believe right now who has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis, right? I've never said he is the next Daniel Day-Lewis. I always say he's the one guy we have who has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. Now, she's no longer just a young, a youngin on the scene. She's, you know, a full-blown ass adult, but I would say the actress today who has the potential to be the next Meryl Streep, I think has got to be Emma Stone. She already has multiple Oscars. She has more multiple nominations. She's going to have more Oscars. Again, I'm not saying she is the next Meryl Streep. I'm just saying out of all the actresses we have right now, I think the one that has the potential to be the next one is Emma Stone, because she's just shown it over and over and over and over and over again. And like Timothy Chalamet, she just keeps getting better and better and better and better. So yeah, like somebody in live chat is saying Jessie Buckley. Jessie Buckley's great, but we haven't seen enough yet, you know, to say that she has the potential to be the next Meryl Streep. Whereas with Stone, we've seen her for well over a decade doing it. And again, is she the next one? We'll see. But I think she has, if you have to pick out one person who has the potential to be the next one, I think it might be her. All right, what's next?
We got King Tane, who says, yeah, my IMAX theater just got upgraded to be 70 millimeter.
Oh, wow.
The first movie for it was Project Hail Mary. What an incredible first experience seeing 70 millimeter in IMAX. I loved it.
Yeah, my first screening of Project Hail Mary was in a 70 millimeter IMAX. Now, I've liked it just as much on the regular IMAX and in the Dolby, but that was a pretty cool experience to see it there. That's a good one for you to make your first one. All right, what's next?
Dante says, maybe a hot take, but I think the Raimi movies trump the MCU in regards to how civilians are handled. Most MCU fights are heroes fighting in an empty setting. They don't really save and or interact with regular people much, and I really miss that.
Seems like kind of a minor quibble. And by the way, I don't know that I agree. I don't know that I agree with that. Like I'm trying to just replay all the various home Spider-Man movies in my head. I mean, look, I think the best live action Spider-Man movie, and I love all the John Watts ones. I loved Homecoming. I loved Far From Home. I love No Way Home. I think they're great. But I also have no qualms in saying that I personally think that the best live action Spider-Man movie ever was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I think that's the best live action one. I think overall, the two best Spider-Man movies, like overall best Spider-Man movies are Into the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse. I just think those are the two best ones, and that Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is the best live action one. But I don't know that I agree that Tom Holland's one, they never interacted with a lot of like civilians and stuff like that. Again, I'd have to go over it and watch them all again to really know for sure, though.
I can tell you who had the most infuriatingly stupid civilians that it just made me want to scream.
Which
was
ones?
The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, those were the dumbest human beings I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you know what? The Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is such an interesting movie because it's so bad on so many levels, yet had a number of really good qualities as well. Like, for example, like the dynamic between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of the best relationship dynamics I've ever seen in any comic book movie. Like in any of them. Whenever it was Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone on screen together, I thought that movie was firing on all cylinders. And yet, it had so many things about it that were also so bad. It's an interesting one. All right, what's next?
We got a $20 tip from Ray.
Oh, thank you, Ray. Appreciate that, man.
Have you heard of the band Breaking Benjamin? One of their famous songs, Diary of Jane, they do an amazing and justified version of Who Wants to Live Forever by Queen. If they don't use Queen in Highlander remake, they need to use this cover. Have you heard this cover?
No,
I haven't.
Not heard of it, but I also don't think you need to use a cover of that, to be honest. Look, let's be honest. As much as Highlander is one of my all-time favorite movies, the vast majority of people out there have never watched it, right? The vast majority of the modern movie-going audience has not seen it. That's just a reality. And I accept that. That's fine. It sucks, but that's fine. Being as they've never seen it, there really is no need to even use the Queen music. Now, would I personally love to hear the Queen music in it? Yes, but since most people have never seen the original Highlander, you don't need to have the Queen music, and you certainly don't need to have another band doing a knockoff of Queen music.
You know, I could see them doing?
What's that?
Using like some diegetic like moments where one of their songs is playing on a radio.
Yep, or they go into a bar and somebody's singing karaoke.
Exactly. Yeah, just something. Yeah.
Here we are, born to be kings. We're the princes of the universe. And as they're buying a drink and leaving a bar. Yeah, I can totally see that. They could do that. 100%. All right, what's next?
Last of the tips, we got Amin. Went to a Cineplex surprise screening last night. It was The Christophers, directed by Steven Soderbergh.
It's the Ian McKellen film.
Oh, yeah. Starring Ian McKellen, who plays a painter. He's great in it. There's some interesting themes about art versus artist. Did meander a bit. Not a bad film.
That one, I remember I saw a little preview for it a while ago, but it's been completely under my... I forgot that it was getting this close to being released, to be honest with you. But that's pretty cool. You know, these secret screenings... man... It's tough because I love the concept of secret screenings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, AMC, for example, has these, what do they call them? They call them
Screen Unseen.
Screen Unseen. That's what they call it, right? Where on a Monday night, you can go for $5. Although if you're an AMC A-list member, you can just go for free. But you can come and see a movie that's not out yet, and you get to see it early, but they don't tell you what the movie is. There's something pretty cool about that. I like that. The problem was that I think the first one I went to...
Wasn't it The Greatest Beer Run or
It was
something
The
like that?
Greatest Beer Run, which sucked. And it wasn't even a major film being released. It was going to be dropping on like in some select theaters, and then it was going to just be dropping on streaming. I was like, well, what? And then I went to a couple more, and they were just like that. These crappy little nobody cares about the movies. Now, the one time it was Jurassic World. Which, and while that didn't turn out to be a great movie,
but by scale,
it's like, yes, this is the kind of movie. Not that you can do it every single time, but I just got burned by the screen unseen, secret screenings. I just got burned by them so much that I just stopped paying attention to it. I stopped going to them. But I would love to get excited about them again. I would.
The nice thing is that Reddit page that tells you what it is now from the East Coast.
Yes. Yes, because they get it early and they immediately hop on Reddit and let you know what the movie is. That changed the way. Oh, by the way, the other good one I saw was, what was the recent Tom Holland one? Not Tom Holland. Loki.
Oh, Hiddleston. Oh,
Tom Hiddleston.
was it?
Life of Chuck.
Life of Chuck. Yeah.
Yes, that was a pleasant surprise one. That was a good one. Anyway, all right, what's next?
All right, over to our super chats. Kurt says, "Hi, John. I had to say goodbye to my dog Annie over the weekend.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I am too. I've been there. We both been there, John and I, multiple times. So the Supergirl trailer was a hard watch. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, just this past year. You lost one just this year.
And I lost 3 within the last 4 or 5.
Yeah, and then Ann and I lost both of our dachshunds that we had for 15 years. Like she had Lily for 17 years. And then we adopted Shadow from a rescue. And yeah, we had them for like 15 years and we lost both of them within about 4 or 5 months of each other. Now we have Dune, but yeah, that's a rough one. I'm really, really sorry. Losing a family pet like that is always tough, man. And I'm sorry to hear about that.
Jeff says, totally looking forward to Supergirl, but would rather Gunn not overplay the theme of super families, pet dog gets bullied.
It's in the comic book story that it's based on. I mean, it's literally taken directly. That's a story point. By the way, James Gunn did not write or direct this movie.
Right.
Right. So it's not James Gunn.
Yeah.
He is, of course, the head of the studio, but it's not him that did it. And that is beat for beat right from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic book. So it's not them that put it in it. It was in the original comic. Anyway.
Then we got Rich Reviews with a $20 super chat.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that, dude.
In my opinion, I always thought you could easily do a Hogwarts. Okay, nothing is easily done.
Yes, nothing is. It's fine. People who don't do things always think the things they don't do must be easy to do. Anyway.
That being said, I'm not trying to pick on you. Do a Hogwarts TV series set during the year of Harry and company, but focus on other students because you have a boarding school filled with kids who are poorly supervised.
I mean, listen, I don't think you have to do it during the same time Harry's there, though. Like
right.
Hogwarts.
I'd be thinking, like, what are the team doing?
Yeah, I mean, the lore of Hogwarts is that it's been around forever, right? So there's a lot of different times you can jump to and stuff like that. But you know what really made me kind of a believer of that idea that you had? I not necessarily at the same time as Harry, but of like doing a show just around Hogwarts. Was that game.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the Hogwarts, what was the name of the game, guys in the live chat? Not the Legacy of Hogwarts.
Isn't it? It's not Hogwarts Legacy?
Might be Hogwarts Legacy. And played the game a lot. She loved it. But I remember that was the game that really went to me. It's like Hogwarts really truly is a living, breathing character in that universe. And you can tell so many different stories just surrounding the environment of Hogwarts. So I think, while not necessarily around the time of Harry, I don't think you're wrong in that you could do another series sometime just on, Saved by the Bell, the new class of Hogwarts. And then like somewhere down the line, I think you could totally do that. I think you're right. All right, what's next?
All right. I'm already putting together like a Hogwarts Saved by the Bell like theme song in my head. All right.
It's all right because you killed Voldemort. All right. No.
Fox Floors gives some support. Thank you. And then follows up and says, hey, John, love your show. Please keep in other news. It's awesome. Love being a part of the John Campea Show community. What do you think of the Silent Hill 2 movie and excited for the movie Obsession?
Yeah, listen, I really like doing In Other News, and we're going to do more In Other News. The problem with In Other News is that it takes me 2 hours to put that little 4-minute segment together. Hours. And I have just found with the way we're putting the show together now, I just don't have the hours to do it most days. So you will still see In Other News pop up because I love the segment as well. I really, really do. It's just a matter of having the time. Like every day is different. Every day I, wake up, come in here, and there's how much has to be done to get today's show together, and do I have time to put together and in other news? And if I do, I do. So it's tough. Plus, as somebody just kind of pointed out, I've been trying to also use time to be doing more editorials lately, and I really enjoy doing the editorials, whether it's the ones about, you know, the Paramount situation, or the one I did about James Gunn, or the one I did about Batgirl, or the Flash, or AMC's financial problems, whatever. I really like doing those. But again, it's just a matter of time. Because unlike at AMC, where at my peak at AMC / Collider, the movie talk era, where at some point, didn't I have it like at some point, Jonathan, like 24 staff or something like that?
Oh,
At some point, the number got ridiculously
at
big.
Collider, yeah, we were pushing
Yeah.
30 at one point.
Yeah, we were pushing like 30 at one point, where I literally would have teams of people that could do different things. Like until Jonathan gets here in the morning, it's just me.
I became very niche at Collider because there were so many people, so that we all had a very defined role, and then it's like going from that to a very expanded role. It's, you know, it's different.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, what were they asking though about?
Oh, are you excited about the Silent Hill 2 movie?
No. No. But I've heard good things. I'm not gonna, you asked me if I'm excited about it. I'm not, but that doesn't mean I won't like it. And I've actually started to be hearing some pretty good things. Actually, you know what? We were just talking about it with Rob before the show started.
Oh yeah.
He's heard from a couple of people. If I said their names, you would know their names. Who saw it and actually thought it was quite good. So I'm at least a little bit interested with it. All right, what's next?
Okay. Edward Wells says Hail Mary sequel, the weaponization of Astrophage. I am curious what the world did with Astrophage from that point on.
Yeah,
you know?
because in the book, so because you never read the book, right, Jonathan?
Not yet.
All right, so you know at the end of the movie, he sends out the probes that each have a name of one of the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
So there's Ringo, John, George, Paul. In the book, that's actually quite a big story point.
Yeah.
Because Grace, one of the team members on Earth, is this Canadian scientist who came up with and created the Beatles. And he's like just really eccentric. You can tell he's probably a Star Wars nerd and a Lord of the Rings nerd. But he's also a person of faith and all that kind of stuff. And there's in the book, it's not in the movie, so this isn't spoiling anything in the movie, but he has this conversation with Grace where he says, like, Astrophage, this is amazing. Like this is going to be like one of the great gifts from God to humanity. And Grace is kind of like, what are you talking about? This Astrophage is threatening life on the planet. It could kill us all. But then they have this big discussion about, yes, but when we come through on the other side of this, once we make it through this, we now have this Astrophage that we're going to be able to do wondrous things with.
I mean, it's unlimited energy.
Yep.
It's interstellar travel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weapon, obviously.
But inevitably,
yeah,
you know that if humanity actually had something like Astrophage,
it'd be used for good, and
somebody would instantly be turning it into weapons.
or even just a terroristic attack with that.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
so many great things could be done with it. So many negative things could be done with it. Much like the internet, so many good things can be done with it. So many bad things can be done with it. All right, what's next?
Seconds from Disaster says, if Ray Fiennes were to be cast in the MCU post Secret Wars, what role could you picture him playing, and what role would you want to see him in?
Don't care. Don't care.
It's such a vast.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's Ray Fiennes. He's literally one of the greatest actors on the planet, and maybe in the top 20 of all time. I'm not going to lie to you. He's not, like, the thing about Ray Fiennes is, other than Voldemort, he's not been in the big marquee films, right? But he is, you believe this, he is top 20, maybe top 30 of the greatest who's ever done it. Like, he's just that good.
I wish
So you take an actor like that, I don't, X actor, X role, I don't care what role you give him. I mean, it would have to be age appropriate and everything, but you create a character for him if you want. But yeah, to get a guy like that in the MCU would be amazing.
Yeah.
It'd be just amazing.
I just wish we could have seen Daniel Day-Lewis and Ray Fiennes on screen together at some
Oh,
point.
hey, you know, they're both still around.
Yeah,
Don't count it out.
I don't. JDSCT says, "Hey John, do you think we might see the Harry Potter series premiere or finale hit theaters?" Oh, like the finale?
Well,
Maybe?
finale is literally a decade away, maybe more.
Unless he means like season
Oh,
finale.
season finale.
Yeah,
It all depends on if it's popular. But listen,
I would go.
It was probably the highest viewed trailer for any television show in history, I think.
Yeah.
Certainly the highest viewed trailer for anything HBO or HBO Max has ever done. So many people watched the trailer that it would have been I believe we said the number 6. If this new Harry Potter series was a movie, it would be the number 6 most viewed trailer of all time, coming ahead of the first Avengers Endgame trailer. So there's clearly a lot of interest. Maybe I don't think they'll do the series premiere in theaters because I think they're going to want to see how well it gets picked up by everybody. Sure. But if everybody's liking it and it gets big viewership, I could see them doing the season finales in theaters. I could see that, and we'll see how it does with the Pitt and everything too.
Yeah. Jay Tovin says, "Would love to see my favorite X-Men story, Fatal Attractions, in live action."
Yeah, but that's, I mean, that would be like, it's kind of the same as like my favorite one, which is X-Men Age of Apocalypse, in the sense that that's not something you can just come out and do in the first couple of years. Like those are both stories that you need to lay an awful lot of groundwork for it to have any impetus. You know what I mean? To come down later. But I mean, yeah, that's something they could definitely look at later down the line, but it would be some time away, I would think. All right, what's next?
Fox Floor says that Backrooms looks overrated. Could be a real flop. I doubt it costs much.
Wait a second. Read that again.
Well, that it looks overrated and could be a real flop.
Nobody has seen. How can you? Okay, look, I'm as one film loving brother to another one. Let me bust your balls for a second. How can you call something overrated that nobody's seen? What do you mean you haven't seen it? How can you call it overrated? Nobody's seen it.
It's vibes.
I mean, maybe you didn't like the trailer as much as other people liked the trailer. Okay. Now, do I think this is going to be a huge blockbuster hit? No. These little horror films are never huge blockbuster hits. But it's going to be profitable and it's going to make money. And yeah, I think it's going to be good. Now, maybe you look and say, I don't think it looks as good as the person next to me thinks it looks. Well, that's okay. I just don't know how something can look overrated. How does something look overrated? I do not think it means what you think it means. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Anyway, again, busting your balls as one film fan to another. We're just having a good time here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you can say that. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Nova Kane says JCS being credited on some major outlets suggesting Doomsday moves to 12/11.
Oh, this. Look, I've been having this thing lately. First of all, I don't know why anybody quotes me on anything.
But we were talking about stories. We didn't say that. It wasn't originating from here.
We were talking about how we totally think it would make sense. And that I did talk to somebody who said there have been discussions, but I mean, we did not report.
No, nothing
we were
was
very
breaking.
careful with how we worded everything, that they are moving it. I mean, I think they will.
It's really starting to worry me about the quality of the reporting going on.
But it's the same thing that happened with James Gunn is leaving.
That's what
DC.
I mean. That's what I mean.
It's like I went so far out of my way to make sure I was very clear. I have never talked to James Gunn about this. Nobody's told me anything, but I think the writing's on the wall that he's going to leave. That's just me as a Yahoo nobody sitting in my garage, spouting off what I think might happen. And then like some outlets take that and run it as a story saying, John Campea said, well, no, John Campea says, I'm guessing that this is what's going to happen. Like, are we so hurting for content that you have to take what this nobody is guessing and make a story out of it? Anyway, I don't understand.
But certainly don't say that we're reporting it.
Yeah. But that all being said, But because I've not seen these reports you're talking
That's true.
about.
That's true.
I've seen the James Gunn ones, but I haven't seen these ones. I do think it's a legit discussion. I really do.
Yes.
Because again, I think most fans believe that Avengers Doomsday not getting IMAX screens is a significant deal. And with Jumanji moving off that December 11th date, that now offers Marvel the opportunity to get those delicious IMAX screenings.
It literally helps 4 parties. It helps Marvel, Disney, it helps the theaters, it helps Dune 3, and it helps Jumanji 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a win-win-win-win. Now, we were very clear to say we don't know that it's going to happen. Nobody from Disney said it's going to happen. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe they're just going to keep Doomsday as it is. But it absolutely, to me, would make total sense. It would make total sense for them to make that move. It's just all upside. Because if you don't know that Avengers Doomsday is going to have a bigger opening weekend if it opens on the 11th by itself with IMAX screens than it would be if it opens on the same day as Dune 3, then you're kind of crazy. It's going to be much bigger than Dune 3, but the fact that it's opening against Dune 3 will shrink its opening weekend a little bit. How much is up for debate. But you move, and by the way, I'm saying this as somebody who wants Doomsday. I want both of these movies opening on the same day. That's what I want. But if you take my wants out of it, it does just straight up make sense. You move Avengers Doomsday to December 11th, now that Jumanji is moved to the 25th. You get that pure opening weekend to yourself. You get IMAX screens, which you were never going to have. So it's good for you. Dune 3 will now have a bigger opening weekend because it doesn't have to go head to head with week 1 of Doomsday. So it's good for them. Jumanji now opens on Christmas Day, which is the biggest movie-going day of the year, and it doesn't have to contend with Dune 3 and Avengers in its second and third week opening. It's just works all around. So I think it's a worthy discussion, and I think it's something that very well could happen. And they might even announce at CinemaCon. They have to announce, if they are going to make the move, they have to announce it by CinemaCon, right? Because you got all the movie theater owners there. You got to announce it by then. But we'll see. But it's certainly not us ever saying that is what's happening. It's just us guessing.
I mean, we were very clear in our statements.
Yeah.
Anyway, final one. Fox Floors wants to know if you saw Iron Lung. Did you see Iron Lung?
No.
Yeah,
that's the Markiplier one, right? No, I never did. I can't say any negative thing because I didn't see it. So I'm not saying anything negative about whatsoever. It's just that I talked to a few people that didn't like it. So I'm like, And whenever I have a few key people that, unless it's a movie I'm really excited about, that say, oh, John, I don't think you're going to like this one. Then I'll take a pass on it. So a lot of people say, John, why haven't you reviewed Iron Lung? Well, I haven't seen it. So I'm not going to say anything good or bad about it if I haven't seen it.
Right.
So no, I never did get around to watching it.
And that was it.
All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow, guys. Hey, listen, we've had thousands and thousands and thousands of you guys watching this live stream. Do us a favor, just take a quick second to help the channel out and click the thumbs up button. It just helps the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment down below. It just helps us out a lot and doesn't cost anybody anything to do. So for Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name is John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.